Hello and welcome to this panel today, the panel discussion on AI. Jose already mentioned we will discuss today the AI transformation, how AI will transform the business in the security industry. Before I introduce the panel, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Heiko Baumgartner. I'm working as a journalist in this industry for more than 15 years. And I worked for Wiley's security publications, GIT Sicherheit in Germany and GIT Security in the EMEA region. And since last year, since October, I work as a freelance journalist for security companies and event organizers in the security field. And I'm really happy to be here, to be invited for this discussion. I'm following iPro, the iPro cameras, for about 15 years, since the invention of the first IP camera, iPro IP camera. And the cameras for me were always rock solid on the hardware side. With a very good quality, made in Japan. But also the iPro cameras have always been well equipped with good software, with video analytics. So already like 10 years ago, I was sitting with Jose together and we were discussing how we can use IP cameras, iPro cameras for video analytics. As business enabler, not only for security, for video surveillance, but also to improve the business, to use them as sensors. At that time, it was called video analytics. Then, in the last years, it transformed more or less to AI. With the deep learning things, it developed very well. And as you have heard today, the development is really impressive that iPro does in this field. So we will discuss today how we can use AI and how AI transforms the industry. So let me introduce the panelists here. Let me start with Richard Benjamins. He's sitting not here. Maybe you raise your hand then. Yeah. And he is a prominent figure and a thought leader in ethical AI and AI regulation. And he was, until last year, he was Chief Responsible AI Officer at Telefonica. And now he is CEO of OdiseIA, Chairman of EIT Digital, and co-founder of and co-CEO of Right AI. Next to him, we have Matias Merlos. He is Senior Strategic Sales Manager at Imotion Analytics, a company that has a lot of experience in video analytics and AI customer projects, and that is why he is here. And of course, you all know Gerard Figols, Chief Operating Officer of iPro, and he's sitting here as our voice of a responsible AI security manufacturer. So I'll start, before we go into the open panel discussion, with two questions to all of the three of the gentlemen, and I'll start with Richard Benjamins. He has a good overview about AI technology coming more from a general approach. And Richard, in Europe, we see a little bit of difference to other regions in the world. My impression is that in Europe, we hesitate to use AI so intensely like in other areas. And I'll ask you, do you agree? And can you guide us to a practical risk assessment to get deeper into the AI game in our region?
Yeah, thank you very much, Heiko. Thank you very much, everybody. It's an honor and pleasure for me to be here. I must say I feel very secure here. Yeah, so let me take your questions in parts, yeah? First, whether Europe is different than the rest of the world. I think, indeed, yeah, Europe is different. I think Europe is a bit more risk-aware than other areas, but because of our values, so we care much about European values, that they are respected. And also, there is a lot of regulation in Europe that makes businesses risk-aware. I would not say directly risk-averse, but risk-aware, because if you don't deal with risks, then you may end up paying sanctions and fines. So that's one part. I wouldn't agree that Europe is hesitating more than other areas in using AI. I think there's a difference in using AI and in producing AI, and then producing in terms of big tech. Yeah? So OpenAI, ChatGPT, Gemini, Google, Llama, Meta, so Amazon, those are big companies, and there are just a few in the world. Yeah? It is true, like cloud, which happened already 50 years ago, and Europe tried also to build its own cloud. No success. Yeah? So AI, in producing big AI systems like generative AI, I think is a fact. Yeah. So Europe is not getting. There's only one French company that is doing something at the moment. But if you look at users of AI, so Gen AI or machine learning or any kind of video analytics, I think any European company, any company in the world is using AI, and as much as they can. Yeah? Of course, there's lots of barriers and challenges, but I don't think that European companies are hesitating for AI technology. Yeah? Now, of course, I looked a bit at the industry, and indeed, there is a huge amount, if you look at video cameras, huge amount of applications that you can do with this. Indeed, most of it security and safety, but of course, there's also a flip side. Yeah? That you have to look at. And I think therefore it's important to understand from an AI perspective what it means to operate in Europe from today. Yeah? So, and therefore it's important to understand a little bit the AI regulation. They call it the AI Act, which is very important to understand. It's not regulating technology. Yeah? So it does not regulate AI as such. It regulates the use of AI. Yeah? And it does this in terms of risks. So risk, it is use, and risk are key terminologies. Risk means that there are 4 levels of risk. So there's unacceptable risk. It means that something that is an unacceptable risk for Europe, you cannot do. And there is high risk. You can do it, but you have to comply with certain requirements. Then there's limited risk, little rules to fulfill. And then the majority of the use cases are no risk or low risk, so then you can do, then you don't have to do anything. Yeah. Now, unacceptable risk is, for instance, what we see in China. Yeah. So it's social scoring, using cameras everywhere in public spaces and looking at the behavior of people, whether they do jaywalking on the street, or whether they do things that are considered not right, and then you lose points, and in the end the points are important if you want to go to a public hospital or a public university. So those things are forbidden in Europe. We don't want to have that. Yeah? And there's also that something is forbidden, which is not really security, but it is about, let's say, emotion recognition in the workspace and in the educational space. So if you're at work and cameras are looking at you to see if you're bored or you're doing something else, that's forbidden. Yeah? It used to be high risk, but they moved it even to forbidden. Now, what can you do? Yeah, if you want to use this as well. And there was one actually an interesting case here in Spain with a high risk application. I think it was already in 2020, but there was a supermarket chain that did a pilot with video facial recognition in stores. So it was 40 shops, and they looked at people who had a restraining order for entering the shop, for shoplifting, for instance, or for getting close to a person that was a victim of domestic violence, usually women.
Yeah.
And so what happened, there was a camera at the entrance, there was a guard, and there was a kind of signal that explained that it was not just a security camera, but there was also something else happening. So if the camera recognized the person, so it scanned all the faces, and when there was a match, the security guard had to stop the person. And this is Spain, so everybody has a passport or an ID card with him, so you can easily check whether it's a whether it's correct or a false positive, etc. Now, this was denounced to the Data Protection Agency, and after a year they gave a 2.5 million fine for this, just for privacy, not even for AI. And the reason was that it was a disproportionate measure for something that was not likely to happen anyway. But so I do a lot of courses on ethics and AI. And then ask people, what do you think? Without telling that it was fined, do you think this is okay? This is a good application, it's a bad application? And the opinions are all over the place. So there is really no right or correct answer unless you go to the judge. The important thing here is that, and that is the practical guidance that I think I can give, is that what you have to do if you use those kind of systems first, and I thought already we saw that in the presentation, I think in your presentation, the wider audience is getting more aware of this technology. So if you are not careful and you deploy as fast as you can without thinking, then that may backlash onto you. And secondly, you also have to understand that if you do it, so this technology is never 100%. So it can be 99%, can be 90%, 70%. You can see it all over the place. Now in your specific case, industry, I don't know, it depends also on the use case. But you have to assess what is the impact if the system is not correct. And there are many examples where AI systems give recommendations to professional people and they take a decision based on that. But the decision is wrong, and you can ruin people's life. Of course, 80% of the people, you don't ruin their lives, but maybe 10% yes. And so you have to assess this impact in advance and then do all the mitigating measures that you can do to make it as small as possible. And I think if you look at this case of the supermarket, they obviously didn't do anything about that. They just said, okay, this looks like a good solution, let's implement it, let's see how it works. So I think that's a learning. And the AI Act for high risk and facial and biometric recognition is high risk, except for authentication. So if you open your phone, not. If you enter an event where you have uploaded your information, then it's not, because it's authentication, but anything else very complex. So I think these are things that practically, if you do that, then you have a lot less risk.
Okay, so the essence is that you have to look at the reason why you do it, and then the impact.
Right.
Good. It sounds like a good guidance for projects, and based on your explanation, how can we move forward and create responsible opportunities in our business? How do you see this?
I think that's a very, very important thing, because in the end, there's always this debate about, well, but if I am very responsible, maybe I'm slower with my business, and I lose business, and there are other areas where, etc. But if you look at it in a bigger picture, I mean, a responsible opportunity means actually combining business and profit with responsibility. And if you look at the ESG movement, environment, social, and governance, it's becoming more and more important. Of course, there is now a global thing that is a bit hindering it, but in general, investors value ESG. So if you doing fine on ESG with climate, social, AI, in this space is all in the S of social. If you do well there, then investors invest first in you and then in others, of course in equal conditions of the rest. So there is a case, a business case for that. And what you have to do is actually very simple. So this, I said, it's not about technology, it's about use cases. So for instance, you have a use case, video analytics or AI, and you want to detect strange moves in shops, maybe to see if there is a robbery or somebody takes a gun, etc. Yeah? So things that you have to do is you have to register the system with some objective characteristics. So what's the purpose? What's the precision rate? Is it built in-house? Is it bought from a provider? If it's bought from prime, what kind of data is it trained? So simple things. And then, of course, is it in a category, if you're in Europe, that is a high-risk category for the European Commission, etc. And once you've done that, you have to do a risk assessment. Yeah? That means if it doesn't go, if it doesn't function well, what's the impact on society, on individual people, etc. You have to try to quantify that with a risk assessment. And then based on this risk assessment, you need to identify those requirements. Now, if it's regulation of AI Act, then the requirements are defined by law. So if it's high risk, so if you do facial biometrics recognition in some application, then you need to make sure the data has quality, you need to have human oversight, and the provider needs to make sure that there can be reasonable or an appropriate and adequate human oversight. That's not just yes, 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 but really that you have to look at something to make the oversight. So there are certain requirements, and once you've done that, well, you can go ahead. If it's a regulation, you have to register it somewhere, but even you can do it as yourself. And so I heard iPro is the ISO 42001. That's the whole company. So the AI Act is on use cases, not on the whole organization. So it's a good complement, and if you are ISO certified, then the likelihood that you will do the individual use cases right is probably very, very high. So it's very recommendable. So there's only one thing I want to say more, is that this seems like a lot of bureaucracy. You have to register a system, so who's registering, is it easy? Then you have to do risk assessment, difficult questions. So what is the impact of a person if you think somebody pulls a gun, but actually it doesn't pull a gun? Or even if you miss it, somebody pulls a gun, but you don't recognize it. So what's the impact of that? You have to think about that in advance. And if the risk is very high, maybe you have to do certain things. And then you have to do requirements. So luckily, if you use generative AI, you can actually automate a lot of these things by itself. And that reduces the effort for doing this whole process from maybe weeks to days or even hours. Of course, you need that to check. You can't just trust everything that a machine says. I think those are what you want. If you want to combine business and responsible, of course you do all your business. Probably everybody knows how to do that, but you have to bring in this other thing, which could be an add-on. But if you do it in a smart way, it is actually relatively easy, and it has also business benefits.
Yeah. Okay, just one short question before we go to Matias. Who would do the risk assessment? So we have integrators here in the room. Would it be the integrator, or would it be the end user, or the end user together with the integrator?
Well, I think it's not. I think if you go to the regulation, then there are providers and deployers. So iPro is a provider. Even though if you buy the AI in from another company, then you are a deployer. So, but end responsibility is for all of them. But if you are just a deployer and you haven't built anything yourself, but you put it in the market and something goes wrong, you are liable. You are responsible, even though you will go to your provider. Hey, you told me this. So there is, but the provider has also obligations, and it means if there needs to be human oversight because it's high risk, and the provider does not give instructions how to do a meaningful oversight, and does not build an interface that invites to a meaningful oversight, then the provider is
Okay.
liable and responsible.
Yeah. Good. Thank you for giving us this background. And Matias, your company is involved in video analytics and AI projects. You describe your offering as artificial vision. Can you describe what this means and what are you doing together with your customers?
Yeah, for sure. First, let me thank you, iPro, the audience, and all that. I'm so proud of being here. And I want to provide a quick introduction of the company. I don't know if all the audience know what we do. Imotion Analytics was founded 10 years ago here in Spain. And since that day, we are developing artificial vision solutions for different markets. It was founded by 2 engineers. This company that didn't start it in a garage, but well. And since that day, we are focused on this product, developing artificial vision solutions, just the analytic. We don't sell hardware and third-party software. We are focused in our product. That's the reason why it's a good partnership to work with iPro too. To talk more about the product, we sell licenses, software licenses in 2 different models, perpetual or SaaS, that we call AVAS or AVAS, like artificial vision as a service. To talk more about the business strategy, we had divided into 2 areas. One of them is for customized solution, where end user, integrators, distributors, and vendors too can order whatever they want, or any analytic that doesn't exist in the market. For example, I don't know, pink panthers detection. Probably is not created, and we got a department to develop this solution. And apart from that, another area of this department is the package solutions. And this area is divided into transport and security and safety. Probably you are thinking about why transport and safety and security. Well, since 2016, we were working with Renfe. I don't know if all of you know what is Renfe. Renfe is the biggest railway company here in Spain. And since that day, we did POCs, labs, and different examples with them and demonstration. And in 2023, Renfe bought the 20% of the company. And nowadays, is one of our strategy customers. And this is the reason why we divided the product into transport and security. Because in Spanish trains, we got different analytics implemented, like an authorized detection today to detect fraud on turnstile, fire and smoke detections, wheelchair detection. Why wheelchair detection? Because it helped to plan the construction of different access. That's the reason why it is very, very important to detect wheelchair and scooters too. We can count people in platforms, in lobbies, and apart from that, on security area, we develop any other solutions, like for example PPE detections, and probably you think about, but why we have to work with them, or why we have to choose another vendor? Well, if you can imagine a situation, for example, if you imagine 6 months ago, you installed, I don't know, 500 cameras, iPro cameras in a customer with our analytics to detect a red helmet and black jacket. And today, the customer call you and want to detect, apart from the helmet and jacket, want to detect, I don't know, black gloves, for example. Probably change the 500 cameras was not a good idea for the customer. So in this situation, you can contact iPro, you can contact us, and we can provide an update of this analytic and add this equipment, this new equipment to the scenario. It's probably you are not going to make a lot of money with that, but it's a service. I mean, it's a service that we can do as a third-party provider.
Yeah, a great service, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you do these projects, so I heard of some analytics projects that didn't work. So let's say one camera surveying a stadium or an area as big as a stadium and look for if somebody steals a car there. And it was, yeah, the idea was camera there, surveying the field. If somebody comes and steals a car, an alarm is set off. And of course, 200 meters in reach, it didn't work. So what are you doing to make a project successful? And,
generally we talk to integrators and to distributors to be in touch at the beginning of the project. It's very, very important to involve us at the beginning. Mm-hmm. We got a partner program for all the integrators and distributors where you can register a new deal and protect this opportunity. Mm-hmm. With this protection, we can start working at the beginning to know what is the pain of the end user, exactly detect this pain and work on that, work together. We got a pre-sales team that helped an integrator doing the pre-engineer. Apart from that, can provide trainings, and we want to work together with all the partners. And it's very, very important to be involved at the beginning. Yeah. To check all the phases of the project. And define the correct scope of this project.
And manage the expectations.
Yeah.
See what the customer, the end users really wants as a result. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very important to set the expectation or to know the expectation of the end user.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Thank you, Matias. Yeah, and we have heard about the regulations, a little bit about how to run a successful project. And so let's ask Gerard about iPro's role in this game. And what first came to my mind is if you look at how fast the industry develops, how fast the AI is developing, how do you manage to stay on top of the game? You said you will be, or you are a leading company in the AI, in the edge AI, in security. Yeah, how do you do it?
Working very hard, honestly speaking. No, seriously speaking, so it's not easy to be ahead in such fast environment, right? Where the market evolves very, very quickly. Yeah. So, but for us, it's very important first to understand the technology, right? We are not positioning ourselves as a camera manufacturer. We are seeing ourselves as a technology manufacturer, right? And for that, as a technology manufacturer, we need to keep innovating ourselves. But this innovation, as Benjamin said, needs to be done in a responsible way because we have a responsibility, and also we have some investors that they are relying on us and how we are managing these investors in a responsible way, right? And the ESG here is very, very important. And these discussions nowadays about AI remembers me back in 2018 when we were discussing about the GDPR, right? And when the GDPR came, there were many questions about how is this going to impact our business, how is this going to affect, is this regulation going to hold back all the European companies? Reality is that nothing of that has happened, right? It gave us a framework of thinking how we can keep moving and keep investing. And I remember back on these days, I used to say, iPro is not GDPR compliant. iPro was GDPR ready to be compliant because the compliancy depends on how the system is used based on what Benjamin said. It's not regulating the technology, it's regulating the usage of the technology. Then manufacturers like us, we have the responsibility of educate the market. As a leader, we cannot only lead, we also have a responsibility to educate and to make sure that the technology is used in the best way. Because then is when you can keep innovating. Because then you are not being held back because people are wondering, oh, what this company is doing, is it moving to the right direction? We need to be disruptive, but giving the necessary peace of mind. And that's how iPro has been evolving over the last 5 years, being leading on this area of the technology. And to lead one area, you need to focus, right? So we cannot lead everywhere. So we have clear directions. What do we want to do? So we said we want to focus on our edge AI. And there is where we want to really invest heavily to be the leader. We cannot be the leader in the edge AI, but also have the best BMS and have the best analytics. That's why our open platform approach came in. They say we are going to focus on the camera. We are going to manufacture the best camera with the best technology. And then we are going to partner with companies like Imotion so that they can do what they do the best, developing analytics. And then partner with other companies who do BMS or cloud. Then we can stay ahead in the technology area that we are aiming to lead. If we try to do everything, at the end we do nothing, right?
Yeah.
That's how we have been evolving over the last years, focusing on very much why we want to be the best. And this is where we will continue over the next years, being innovative in a responsible manner.
Yeah, and I guess this is the biggest change if I looked at it at the tradition of Panasonic and iPro, the open approach, that has changed over the year.
Correct.
Panasonic at that time was seen as a great manufacturer, great hardware, but it was linked to proprietary systems and not
end-to-end systems, right?
Yeah, and do everything.
Do everything in-house, and then we decided where we can really focus, where do we want to invest. And we based our strategy in two main policies, this open policy, right, which is how we partner with the industry-leading companies in each area, and time-based competition. We understand in current environment, time is really important. So we need to be very quick, bringing the latest technology in the shortest time to the market, to our partners, that they can bring to their customers, right? So time matters. So, and we want to bring all the latest technology and the latest products, the sooner the better.
Yeah. And in an ethical way.
Of course.
And you have taken several steps in that direction, responsible AI or ethical AI. What is the origin of that? Is it that you against the competition that somebody sees? I think that is also a factor. What is behind this strategy to be more on the ethical side?
We have been talking a lot about AI since 2020, right? Position ourselves as the leading company with the edge AI in the security industry. But based on some data I also shared today, and this is about generative AI, but these questions about the usage of AI has been always around, right? Especially with the facial recognition is something that happened very much over the last years, right? And many people are wondering, okay, is the AI a threat? They understand about the benefits of the AI, but also there are a lot of threats about how to use AI. And linked to that, I was last week in Houston in some meetings, and we were introducing some of the latest technologies. And then someone approached to me and said, but having all this technology, how you differentiate about what China is doing, right? I said, because of our ethical approach. And immediately the person connected the dots, right? Realized, okay, is evolving, is developing the latest technology with the latest features, but doing in a responsible and ethical manner, right? So iPro is not going to cross a line that will, let's say, go against, let's say, the interest of the society, right? And that's why what we realized a couple of years back when we thought, okay, we are talking a lot about AI, but unless AI is managed in a responsible way, what we can do, Then we start our own approach with our 7 principles back in January 2024. But we were getting all the comments like, okay, that's what you say. But what about how you can reassure that what you are doing is ethical enough, right? Of course, you say that you are doing your best, right? But who verifies that this is the truth? Then we start searching, but we realized there was not a single company verifying, there was not a global standard at that time. Then the global standard came, I think was like 1 year ago, around April, May. So the standard itself was released. And then we immediately started working on it. That's why we created our ethical AI committee back in September 2024, because we wanted to be the first company, because we feel it's our responsibility to give peace of mind to all our customers, as well as the customers of our customers, the ones who are using iPro, so that iPro Edge AI technology and the partners that we are working with are doing everything in a responsible and ethical manner. Otherwise, they are going to be not proactively spreading out the message and promoting it, because they will have concerns how this is going to be used. That's why it came to our mind, we need to do something else. Being the leading on AI is not enough. We want to be the leader on ethical and responsible AI.
Okay, thank you, Gerard. And then I think we should stay a little bit on this topic of responsible AI and open the discussion. Many of you in the audience will know Pierre As. He is CEO of Genitech, and I had the pleasure of doing an interview with him. And he has a very conservative, sometimes critical approach to AI. And he said in the interview, you have the human supply the creativity and the intuition, and you have to do the machine, do the heavy lifting, the work. And you close the loop like that, but it's the human that drives it. AI, as it is now, is mindless. It will remain dependent on human oversight and judgment for decades to come. Decades to come is a strong statement in this area. Do you share his impression or his thoughts? Or do you see a point in AI use where a system could overrule a human decision, or leave us, the humans, out of the loop and just decide?
Well, I think I agree. I think it's decades to come. I think it's not so much about whether machines have a mind, or it looks like they have a mind, or they're thinking. It's whether they have intentions. Now, today machines do not have any intention. So they don't start by themselves. They don't decide what to do, what to calculate. They're just doing what designers and people tell them to do. It might be the case that decisions will be taken by machines without people if we decide to do so.
If we decide that they can do it.
Then you design them to, because I mean, maybe machines are much better in some things than people are. So we can decide to do that. But the fact that we think that a machine may take over willingly and shutting us out, and I mean, that is science fiction for me. Of course, we never know where it will go. In the end, we are here. We are intelligent beings, and we're coming from nowhere. It took us just, I don't know, 15 billion years to get here. Now, nothing says that we cannot do that quicker. But doing it in a year or two is probably impossible. Knowing that AI started in the 60s, so maybe we're already working about 60 years on this, but still, 60 years compared to billions is very little. So that's a matter of opinion. But I personally believe whether their intention and reflective capability, I don't feel good today, or I'm not happy with my life. Machine being able to do that kind of reflections is decades or even centuries away.
I am agree too. I think that, in my opinion, this sentence focus on that thinking about that the AI solutions just help us to do things better. We have to think the AI solution as a tool that help us to do all the things better.
Yeah. Good, yeah.
Yeah, as Benjamin said, I think nowadays the humans are designing the algorithms, and they are, of course, improving and getting better. But then still it depends on us how we want them to perform, right? How we want them to behave. At the end of the day, we are the ones designing the systems. So I do agree with this comment, and I believe still the humans are behind any kind of AI system, that it will transform massively and it will change completely what we have seen. I also believe so, because the speed that is going is so fast, and if we see where we were 2 years back and where we are today, it's like, no, that could not happen. It's kind of science fiction for most of us. Then in 2 years might be even completely something that we cannot imagine. But I still believe the humans are the ones behind the systems at the beginning, and also to take the decision, right? Because there is this kind of responsibility that also Benjamin was saying, right? If they provide you the wrong data, you take the wrong decision, right? So then you need to judge the data that you are gathering from the system, because there is a liability at the end of the day, right? If you allow the system to decide by itself, who is going to be liable, right?
Yeah.
So then I think it's important that humans and technology are working together.
Yeah.
I think there is one addition to this. It's like a second derivation of reflection. And I think we all agree that, as you said, AI is a tool that makes us better in combination. But here's also a risk. I mean, if we stop doing things and we leave it to AI, and we do that for 20 years, then of course we lose some kind of competencies. I don't know how many of you still remember phone numbers by heart. Very little, very few. We kind of outsource that to a machine. So if we lose our mobiles, probably we cannot even call our children. Or so. So imagine that with AI. You have people now looking at security cameras, scanning things, who looks suspicious or not. Imagine that, of course, AI is coming. Motion analytics will detect it automatically. So then, in the end, people will get used to it. Well, the machine will detect. Of course, there's some false positives. I have to be aware of false negatives, etc. But in the end, you know how it goes. If the machine doesn't tell you, there is no alert. You can see, so it's about slow creep. It's coming in slowly, you don't notice, but in the end it's there. Look at the stock market today. It's not really a complicated AI, but who knows how the stock market works? 75 is traded by machines. It's all rules, but it's traded by machines. So sometimes you have a flash crash. So suddenly the stock market goes down because the machines take decisions in real time, and before you know it, so then they do something and it recovers. But effectively, we are not in control of the stock market. And even if what happens in the United States, the effect of the stock market, nobody knows. So something similar may happen.
Could happen, so that a security
we
operator...
we become better together. Machine, person become better. But in the end, the one who cannot do anything anymore is the person. And then, of course, this happens over a long time, many years. But that's definitely a trend. Like in the past, we used to work with our body, with our hands, and we were strong, and we were healthy. Nobody went to the gym. Now everybody goes to the gym because you don't exercise anymore, and you have to exercise to be healthy. Now, likewise, if we don't exercise our brains, we lose capacities. You can see that with people with dementia and with Alzheimer. They're doing specifically, they are trained to keep their brains alive. So I think one of the professions of the future could be that people start having gyms for brains. So after work, when you're sitting there, you go to a place and you exercise your brains, because otherwise become dement.
Or a security operating is going to a pub and then he knows the machine is doing all the work, and if something happens, I will get an alarm. So yeah. Good. Maybe because time is moving on quickly, just one more thought about responsible AI. And as I asked before, who is then responsible to create a responsible AI or ethical behavior? Is it the vendor for security technology? Has a certain part, and is it the installer or integrator, or is it the responsibility then of an end user, of a security officer or person in the security?
I think that all the players are responsible for that. In my case, as a developer, we need to pay attention and collect the data that is absolutely necessary for any purpose. Work with anonymization and encryption to protect user identities. But, well, I mean, as a conclusion, it's essential to strike a balance between the innovation and the ethical responsibility.
I fully agree with Matias. So at the end of the day, is a kind of chain of responsibility. So the first responsible is the ones who develop the product or the technology, right? Because you know what you have developed. Then you have the responsibility to educate the next one on the chain, who might be either the installer who is installing the product, or the distributor who is also handling. Then this is transferring responsibility, but it doesn't mean that you are getting away of the responsibility. So for me, it's similar as what I mentioned before about the GDPR, right? So we manufacture the products to be ready to be compliant, but the compliance or not depends on how you use the system. So we need to give the right tools, the right platforms to use the systems properly, but also to educate properly, right? That's why for us active learning is important, and building an iPro university to train and to give the right education to all our partners, but also the industry itself. I think it's a matter of educating the industry and the society, because many people are concerned about the usage of the technologies because they don't know. So, and I'm sure if we back 1 century, people were concerned about the usage of the car, right? So, car could be very dangerous, and still is dangerous today, but I think we have lost the fear of driving a car, right? So, and if we back 1 century back, so people have the fear, driving a car, the speed is really fast, so I'm not going to drive that quick. While in Germany you drive very quick, by the way. So, but reality is that this fear disappears as soon as people understand how to manage this technology, and how to manage this product. So that's our responsibility, to educate and to train properly.
Yeah, also here, I think, as we say, everybody has its responsibility, but it's complex, because the value chain of AI is not so straightforward as a provider and a deployer and a user. And think about, for instance, ChatGPT. So ChatGPT can do anything. You can do great things, but you can also create fake news. You can create deep fakes. You can try to influence people. So it's the same system, and it has different uses. Now, of course, if you use ChatGPT for generating false information and spread that, I mean, it's the people who's doing that is responsible for that. But I mean, this is always the debate, between who is responsible for what. But the companies that develop generative AI, they also spend a lot of effort on avoiding that people can use it. So if you ask the ChatGPT, how can I do a terrorist attack, or how can I kill somebody, it won't answer you. It might even say you are breaching our terms and conditions, or ask you something different. So because they are trained to detect things that they should not tell. Now, this is what they call guardrails, and I mean, if you go to the European regulation, already from today, those systems that have billions of users, like the big ones, they need to do a lot of red teaming. So they need to have teams that are deliberately trying to make those machines say things that they shouldn't say. Yeah? And that's their responsibility. They have to need a thing in place. But I mean, it's like GPS, yeah? So GPS, we all have it, Google Maps. We use it all the time to drive. And you can usually use it only for good things. But sometimes, as we saw a few months ago here in Spain, people follow Google Maps and they kill themselves. Yeah? Now, is there responsibility of the company who built it and should have foreseen that? Yes or no? It's a debate. Yeah, this is not so difficult. But if you look at Gen AI, it becomes very blurred where the responsibility stops. Yeah? So, of course, responsible AI you create in an ecosystem together. If everybody wants to work together and collaborate, which I understand is the case, then it works fine. But if there are different interests, then it's become very complex.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the future use of AI, and I think it's difficult to look into the next decade. But what are your thoughts on the most important applications for AI in maybe the coming 2 or 3 years? What do you think?
Well, we can see that there are too much to do in healthcare monitoring, security too, logistics and retail. As I mentioned before, we think the AI solution as a tool. Yeah. So we can develop new tools to help hospitals, retail's, customer, logistics, transport. It's very, very important to focus on that and think that always we can help our day-to-day task with AI solutions.
I think the applications will more or less remain the same, but I think what will change is how we interact with cameras. So I think we can have a conversation with cameras, yeah?
Okay.
So what we saw here already with kind of search, you can say, okay, look for, you just speak, yeah? And
so the way how you communicate with the whole system.
Speaks like, well, I'm seeing this, oh, look there, and because with Gen AI, with synthetic voices, and with, it's relatively easy. Of course, you have to, again, it's never 100%, there may be hallucinations, so you have to test, you have to check in what certain use case you could do it. But suppose you have a room with all kinds of surveillance cameras, and instead of you have to watch for a red line, it says, oops, you have to look here. And then you start looking there. Yeah. So, and then you can ask questions. What did you see? Well, blah, blah, blah. So having a conversation with a security camera or whatever, I think that is very close to being tested.
Yeah. So then, for example, in an application that you look at a perimeter, you have cameras here, and that you're not saying, oh, please draw a line if somebody crosses the line, then set an alarm, so that you just say, I want to protect this building, I want to protect this area, set up something to protect it.
Even a step further. Yeah. But yes.
Yeah, I do agree with the comments shared by my colleagues. So basically, a more interaction between the cameras or the systems and the operators are going to happen, right? So you will be able to ask the camera, I want this analysis now instead of the one that you were doing before. Okay, please update the system accordingly. Now that's your responsibility. Or tell me what you are seeing, give me all the details of what's going on there. Or this is the parameters that are designed, just send me an alert when this is happening or this is not happening. And this can be, nowadays it takes a lot of hours of setting and work, so then it's going to be more interactive, right, in kind of conversation mode. In terms of which are going to be the applications that are going to be mostly used, I think it very much depends on the needs of the society. For example, what we see it in Japan is that Japan is a country which is the population is getting old, is aging population, right? Also, they have a limited workers, right? Because they don't have that much immigration in the country, and the birth rate is relatively low.
Yeah.
So then we see that they are going to utilize technology, especially for nurse care or for healthcare, and utilizing AI to really give support to the people that also are alone or have some special needs, right?
Yeah.
And this is probably something different than the needs that we might have in Spain or in France or in the United States, because the situation of the society and the needs of the society are different.
Yeah.
And I think here the analytics and the technology gives us this flexibility, right? As long as you have the same platform there, so you can utilize it depending on the needs of each society or of each region.
Okay. Yeah. Good. We have prepared some more questions, but I think looking at the time, we're about to finish. But I would like to give the audience also the opportunity, if there is maybe one or two questions to the audience, we would have time to answer it. Okay, if this is not the case, thank you very much. Oh, sorry, I overlooked you. Yeah.
You break the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. Maybe somebody else will
Yeah.
take some questions, yeah?
Yeah.
I know some people is maybe now starting on the siesta. Yeah, the title of the panel discussion is Challenges and Opportunities. So I want to practically take the chance, yeah? Matias is here. So in the last, what we explained is we see the acceleration, yeah? We see things happening very quick in the last few months. So my question to you, Matias, specifically is, if you compare your company, I would not say 1 year ago, but like let's put 2 years ago, yeah? Compare with today, where you were 2 years ago and where you are today. What do you have more? More challenges or more opportunities? What is the feeling? Yeah?
You can.
We have both of them. Yeah. We decided to develop new solutions and to attack other markets, and it was really good for us. But we are discovering new challenges and new opportunities in other markets too, because probably 5 years ago we were focused on transport, as I mentioned before, and then we decided to move forward to other markets, and this is the reason why today we got more opportunities and more challenges.
Thank you. I think similar question in a different angle, yeah, to Richard, yeah. So you are also leading the observatory, yeah. So in that role, guiding companies and guiding people, the perception, as you mentioned in your presentation today, is that people sees the regulation as a slowing down, yeah. But I like to think there are more opportunities. How is the observatory trying to influence and support those opportunities and overcome those challenges?
Yeah, so we always try to stimulate opportunities while managing the risks. Yeah? So it's not about, we think there are so many more opportunities than risks, but you cannot ignore the risks. And that is what we try to install. Yeah? So we work with the government, the Spanish government. We also work with companies. Of course, we're not a consultancy company, so we don't do that. But we can give them advice. We do a lot of training, also to citizens, because they need to get up to speed also about this technology. But we also try to tell them, look, society increasingly values responsibility. So it's not only that society expects companies to make profits. They also demand that companies have a responsible role in the society, that take care of climate, yeah? That they don't pollute, that they take care of people with disabilities. So I think there is a tendency that, as I said before, investors value ESG, yeah? Customers and societies value ESG, and today also in many companies, it's a talent war. They have to attract people, and then they have to retain those people. And employees also start to value more responsibility. So, of course, everybody wants to earn a good salary, yeah? So money is important, but it's not the only thing anymore. Yeah? So if you are a company that just goes for profit, you pay well, but you are reckless in the sense, employees will leave, yeah? Because they want responsibility. So they say that it slows down regulation. I have some information actually that says the opposite. If you have responsible framework like the what you have, the ISO standard, it actually speeds up innovation because people feel safe.
Yeah.
They think, okay, it's not my responsibility if I do something wrong because the company has a structure. So if I do something too fast or too quickly, or think, let's do this, somebody will. It's kind of a safety net, yeah? And that creates a kind of safe environment where people, and the best place where people innovate is if they feel safe. And I think that is something that people say, okay, we have to set the process in place, and this process takes time.
Yeah.
Yes, it is true. I'm interested to know how long it took you to be prepared for the ISO. But once you have it in place, and as I also said, you can automate a lot of that if you do it carefully, then it's not such a big deal, but you create a safe space where people can innovate responsibly.
Okay, so thank you everybody for attending the session, and I saw that there was not a lot of siesta in the faces I could detect. So, and also, of course, thank you to all of the panelists. Thank you very much, and yeah.